are seasons in life when you're busy doing all the right things, setting goals, making plans, working hard, and yet something still feels off. You're moving, but you're not sure you're moving towards anything that truly matters. That disconnect doesn't come from a lack of discipline. It almost always comes from a lack of clarity about why you're doing any of it in the first place. So today I want to help you slow that down, not to complicate things, but to get clear, because clarity is going to make a huge difference in your life. And before I go any further, let me give you a little bit of context. I didn't come to these ideas from theory. I started a company from scratch, grew it into a multi-million-dollar company, eventually sold it to a multi-billion-dollar company where I stayed on as CEO. None of that happened because I had it all figured out. It happened because one thing was settled first, and it wasn't strategy, it was my why. Here's what I learned. People aren't afraid of goals, they're afraid of plans. And they misunderstand both, because the truth is you already know how to do this. You do it every time you take a trip. Before you choose a destination, you decide why you want to go. You ask, do you need rest? Do you need time with people you love? Maybe you need a break from the pace you've been living. Your why determines everything going forward. It determines where you go, how long you stay, how much money you spend, and who goes with you. The destination only makes sense after the why is clear. Well, life works the same way. Long before the business success, the speaking, or the book, my why was formed in a very personal way. When my husband David was fighting cancer, I was spending long days and nights in the hospital. At the same time, I had a 2-year-old son. Somewhere deep inside, one conviction became abundantly clear. No matter what happened, my son was going to get to live a full and a happy life. That was my why. Then one night, after days without sleep, I stepped into the elevator to go down to the hospital chapel to pray. And as I was in that elevator, exhausted and afraid, I found myself praying words I'd prayed years earlier. Went something like this: God, either you are or you're not, and if. And suddenly, before I could finish that thought, something stopped me cold. It wasn't out loud, but it was very clear. Jane Ann, we settled who I am a long time ago. The question is, are you who you say you are? That moment forced me to decide who I would be. Regardless of the outcome, would I stay present for my son? Would I stay engaged in life, even through grief? Would I continue to pursue the dreams that still lived inside of me? That decision became a defining moment, and it shaped every decision that followed. Here's what experience has taught me. Clarity always comes before direction. If you skip the why, you can work incredibly hard and still get lost. So if you're in a season of change, closing one chapter, stepping into another, there are 3 questions worth asking. First, why does this matter to me? Not what sounds impressive, not what other people expect. Second, where do I actually want to end up? You don't plan a trip without first choosing a destination. Don't plan your life without one either. Third, what's the plan that gets me there and maybe gets me there the fastest? It doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to work. See, a plan considers the time, the money, the energy, and the support you're going to need. And a good plan, it doesn't limit you, it protects you. A verse I'm really leaning into this year is Romans 12:2. It says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Transformation doesn't begin with doing more. It begins with thinking differently about who you are, why you're here, and where you're going. After selling my company, I put these lessons into a book called The Audit Principle, not to impress anyone, but to help people slow down, get clear, and move forward with intention. If this resonates with you, you'll find the link below, and there's a QR code on the screen. In our next video, we're going to talk about how to turn clarity into a plan you can actually follow so you can finish strong. I'm Jane Ann Craig. Remember, direction follows clarity. Clarity always starts with knowing your why.